Okay. Now, when we start a system, right, a lot of processes get started, and when you shut down the system, so all the processes will be closed one after the other. Okay. So when I say different processes will get started, that means uh, let's take an example. So if you have enabled a printer service, okay, so when you start the system, the printer service will be started. Similarly, a networking service will be started. Like that, all the services that we have enabled, all the services will get started. Similarly, while closing the system, they'll be stopped, right? Now, in the same context, so what is the difference between run level 3 and run level 5? So all services in run level 3 are also present in run level 5. The only difference is in run level 3, the graphical layer is not started. So that is the only difference. Now I am in run level 3. Okay, you can see this, right? So only that I don't see all the graphical applications present because it is the only graphical service that is not started in the system. So similarly, here if you take, there is a folder corresponding to each of these run levels, rc0.d, 1.d, 2.d, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Now in each of these directories, uh, the services corresponding to that run level, the names of the services corresponding to that run level are present. So when you are starting the system, okay, so in this init tab file at the bottom you can see the run level present. It says id:3 init default. That means when I start this Linux system, by default it will start in run level 3. If I say this, okay, and then if I restart my system now, what happens is at the during the system initialization, it will check this particular file called etc init tab. It will check how I should start the system. Okay, here it is 5, so it will start the system in run level 5. If it is 1, it will start the system in run level 1. Okay, so basically the system will read the file called etc init tab in order to check what is the default run level set. Now once I have started my system in run level 3, if I want I can switch to run level 5. If I want I can switch to run level 1. So that feasibility is there. So I'm explaining how we can switch, what basically happens when you set a run level. Now that it is clear that the system will read the configuration file and get to know that okay, this is the default run level, I have to start it. Okay, now when it reads this particular line, so it understands that it has to start the system in run level 5. But what is run level 5? What are the services which are part of run level 5? That information is present under this particular folder. Okay, so corresponding to each run level, there are some files present in that folder. So rc3.d, so these are the files belonging to rc3.d. So once it reads this line, it will read this directory and about the services which are part of it, and it will start all these services. If you see here, so all the services they begin with either S or they begin with K. Okay, that means S refers to starting those services. So when we are starting the system, it will pull all these services and it will start. Okay, K refers to kill. That means if you shut down your system, what it will do, it will the operating system, it will follow the same process. It will check what is the current run level 3. So it will come to the directory and it will try to kill all the processes which are part of run level 3. Similarly, if you start your system in run level 5, okay, so the system will read all these services, okay, it will start all the services, and at the same time when you shut down the system, it will try to stop all these services. So that is how the system works with respect to the run levels. Okay, so there are predefined. So the same way, okay, we have run level 6, that means restart. So if you say run level 6, start your system in run level 6, the system will basically restart. That means stop and start the service, stop and start the service. It keeps happening continuously. So you are not supposed to set run level 6 inside that file. Okay, and at the same time, if you put run level 0, it means shutdown. So if you put 0, your system won't start. That means it will start and shut down. Okay. Now how these are useful means. So there is a command called init. Okay, init means similar to initialization. Okay, so init command basically helps us to start the system. I mean, once you have started, init command helps us to switch among the run levels. Okay, so if I'm in run level 3 now, so how do I check it? Run level command will give me output as a run level. Okay, now in this output there is something called n space 3. So 3 is the current run level. Okay, now if I switch to a different run level, then the value of n will get updated. Okay, so we'll quickly see an example now. So what I do is init space 6. Okay, so init space 0 means it will shut down. Init space 6 restart. Init space 5 start the graphical mode. Okay, that means switching between the run levels is possible using the init command. So init space 6, it won't take long, but we'll just test it out. Okay, your system is restarting, and so all these commands, as you can see, they are very important in the sense it will completely shut down and start your system. So only a root user should be able to execute it. Okay, again, this is your grub screen. I've just chosen the one. So this is what run levels are. Okay, this is how we can switch between the run levels, and we can test the functionalities. Okay, so with this we will start the basic commands like how to create the files, how to copy the files, how to create directories, how to delete the directories, how to read the files. Okay, so we'll pretty much focus on all these areas. So starting from now, so till now all the topics were pretty much generic. Okay, so from now onwards we will focus on specific areas. Okay, alright, so we have a question here. So what does run level 1, 2, 3 does? 3 I have already mentioned. Okay, so most of the time, not most of the time, so anywhere you see a Linux system, it should be mostly in run level 3. Okay, particularly if you are using it as a production system, so it is not started in a graphical mode. It is always preferred to start the system in a non-graphical mode, because this additional graphics layer, it consumes additional resources. So that's why all the production systems are started in run level 3. Okay, but if you are using Linux system as a desktop, okay, there you might find it in a run level 5. Other than these two, as I said, run level 1 is a maintenance mode. You can switch to uh, run level 1 on a need basis. Okay, so I want to troubleshoot something, then you might want to switch to run level 1. So these are the three main run levels that are used, and run level 0 is shutdown, run level 6 is restart. Okay, so what else we have? Run level 2. Run level 2 is multi-user mode without NFS. That means the concept of networking which is there, that is disabled. Okay, you will not be able to communicate with the systems. Other than that, you would find all the features in run level 2. Okay, and 4 is not used, so there is nothing defined in run level 4. So these are the run levels. That's it. Okay. So I believe I have talked about the command prompt, right? So the root user at host name, and this is a tilde symbol. Okay, tilde symbol also represents the home directory. Say, for example, I'm under /temp. Okay, cd means change directory, and if I do cd space tilde, means it will take me to my home directory. So that is applicable to every user. Tilde symbol. So any user can do cd space tilde. He will come to his home directory. In fact, there. Okay, if I just do cd, then also I'll come to my home directory. Since it is displayed here, I've mentioned that. So you can use either ways. So particularly, uh, so when we are on the command prompt, when we are working, we may not use the tilde symbol. Okay, we simply do cd and come to our home directory. But when you're writing some shell scripts, okay, so if you want to go to your home directory, you have to mention it over there. You can't just say cd and come back. So what you do is, say for example, you want to run some script which is there in your home directory, then you have to explicitly mention the path of your home directory. So rather than mentioning /root, I can save some space by simply mentioning a tilde symbol over there. So that is how that tilde symbol will be made use of. Okay. So as the user, I hope you are clear that every user, when he provides the credentials and logs into the system, he will land up in his home directory, right? And as the part of the architecture diagram, if you remember, there is a layer called shell. So we have hardware, around that we have kernel, around that we have shell, around that we have all the other applications and utilities. So all the commands that a user provides, so they are converted to a system understandable format and are given to the kernel. Kernel again executes or implements, and whatever output gives, it is displayed on the screen. It is first of all converted by the shell to user understandable format and is displayed on the screen. Okay, so here shell acts as an interface, right? So that is the importance of shell. So it provides a vital role by converting these things, okay, to and fro. So the moment a user logs into the system, he will land up in a shell. Okay, so it is the shell that has allowed you to have a command prompt. Okay, so there is a command called echo. Okay, echo as the word is, the meaning is like whatever you give as an input, it will give it back to you. Okay, so echo is also used in other ways. Okay, other ways means, for example, uh, we have stored something like this: x equal to 2. Okay, say y is equal to 2. Okay, and I will say echo. So there is a value that I've stored in a variable called y. Now echo $y. So it will retrieve the value that is present inside y. Clear? So Hello everyone, can one of the participants please confirm? I just saw a message that you cannot hear me. Okay. So uh, echo command, what it does is it will also reflect the numbers. You can also give statements like okay, and we can also retrieve the content which is present inside variable using echo command. Okay, these are different use cases of echo command. Now every user will land up in a shell. Every shell is associated with variables. So when I say variables, that means simplest example is even in Windows, we right click on my computer and then we open the special variables. Sometimes when installing the softwares, we update the path variable, right? So similarly, similar to the path variable, we have a lot of variables that are associated. So we can use the command called env. If you type env, so it will display a lot of variables. Okay. Among those variables, you can see home. Home is one variable. So echo $home. Okay. Echo dollar. What others we have here? Path. Okay. So like this, we have a bunch of predefined shell variables present. These variables help the user in order to perform some tasks like every time you want to know where you are, so home variable will tell you okay what is your home directory. Now path variable, I hope you know the importance of path variable. So it is pretty much general, right? So you would have at least installed some software like Java in Windows. When you install Java, we add the Java bin folder to the path variable. So that basically helps us to issue the commands directly. That means you can simply say Java C Java program and you can run it. Whereas if you don't add it to the path variable, so every time you run a Java program, you need to give the full path like C colon program files, Java bin, Java C. So that entire path must be given. The same concept here. So even for the path variable, now you are running a command called ls. Okay. So it is successfully getting executed because where is ls? ls is present in a folder called /bin/ls and /bin/ls. So here you can see /bin is part of path variable. So when you execute ls, what happens is it will search all these folders, colon separated folders are there. So it will search all these folders for a command called ls folder. So if it is not present, it will say that take another example. So it did search for this command across all these folders and it said command not found. Okay, so that is the importance of path variable. So we will be adding new values to this path variable and exporting or updating the path variable. Will see those uh, things also. So every shell has a set of shell variables. Okay, and the moment you create a user, the shell would also be added to that user. In Linux system, there are different types of shells. So here you can see there is a file called etc shells. There you can see /bin/sh, bin bash, sbin no login, bin dash. So these are all different shells that are present. So if you want to know the shell that you are using currently, it is echo $shell. It gives bin bash. Okay. So we will. I'm just just showing you what shells are supported. This list may vary. You might find other shells like C shell, K shell in other systems. We'll not go through the details of the other shells, but we will mainly restrict ourselves to the bash shell. Okay, bash shell provides all the necessary features that we need for this particular course. Okay, bash, it is called as a born again shell. So as a part of the shell, so what is the shell? What are the features of the shell? Means when we are running commands, they are getting executed. Okay, and on your keypad there are up and downward arrow. So here if I press those arrows, you can see it displays all the commands that I've previously executed. It remembers the history of those commands. Okay, and I can also search for commands on the command prompt itself. Okay, and it will also does for example, see if you observe. Okay, I did type SHE. If you press tab, it will complete. So that is called as command line completion feature. Okay, I need not have to type the entire word. So I would suggest that you start making use of tab from now itself. So tab basically helps you to give suggestions. So if you press tab, you need to press tab twice uh, in order to get the suggestions. So suggestion means it will tell you if you give S and tab twice, it gives all the uh, options that are supported with, I mean that start with S. Okay, and say I give H, it will tell you what are all the files that are starting with H. So like that, even if you forgot something, by using the tab, you can check the corresponding file. Okay, so that is a feature of bash shell. Not only that, say you forgot some command. Okay, press tab, it will display all the commands that are starting. In Linux there are a lot of commands. You can just start with A, press tab twice, it will display all the commands starting with A, B, like that it goes till Z. Okay, even if you forgot some command, by pressing tab you can check that command. Similarly, by pressing tab you can get the path of the file system structure. See, ls etc. So if you observe, right, I am not typing them, I'm just using tab etc. So I know like a few letters. After that, press tab, it will confirm. Then network hyphen scripts. Okay, if cfg eth 0. So just keep pressing tab, it helps you to follow it. So like that, we have few more features of bash that we will go through today. Okay, so this is pretty much what your shell is all about. Okay, now starting with the basic commands now. So these are all the different files present, and among these files we'll take some example. Cat is a command, so this is the first command that usually you learn in Linux system. So cat command will display the contents of a particular file. Okay, display in the sense it will take the entire content and it will throw it on the screen. So enter. See, irrespective of the size of the file, cat command will just put everything on your screen. So you need to the, what I'm doing now is pressing shift page up together. Okay, so this is where the file has started. So this is what cat does. If it is a small file, you can uh, use the cat command to display, so those contents will be visible on the screen. Otherwise you need to use the, you have to move the cursor. So cat command basically displays the contents of a file. Okay, so cat command, there are a lot of use cases for cat command. Okay, so we can also display the contents of multiple files like uh, anaconda.log. I will take two small examples. Okay, so here we have two files called file1, file2. So if I do cat file1, so there is just a number inside file1. Cat file2, there is another number. I can do cat file1, file2. So it will display both the files. Like that, you can give n number of files as an argument to cat. It will display the output one after the another. Okay. So that is where we start with the cat command. Now using cat, it is also possible uh, to add content to a particular file. Okay, say uh, there is a file called new file. Okay, we need to use a redirection operator and say control dig, control dig. Now cat new file. The content that I have added is displayed on screen. So this is called as a redirection operator. Okay, redirection. Now I have used the same redirection operator like this. Here what I did is echo 2. We know the output of echo 2, right? It is displayed on the screen. Now I said rather than displaying it on the screen, redirect it to a file called, let's take the same one, new file. Okay, so this is what redirection means. Don't print it on screen, but send it to this particular file. So we are redirecting it. Now cat new file. I want you to observe the difference here. Previously I added 3 lines to new file. Okay, now here I have redirected number 2 to this new file. The moment I redirected, the previous content is gone. Okay, so it is not only a redirection operator, but this operator will overwrite the content present in a file. So you have to use double redirection operator if you want to append. So adding content to a file involves either you append it or you completely overwrite the content. Okay, so I'm just running the same command multiple times. As I said, this is, now we are appending the content. So single redirection means overwrite, double redirection means append it. Okay, from in this particular context. Okay, so we can also use double redirection operator in this way. Okay, when you do this, so you'll not get the prompt back, it is expecting a user input. So now you give control D. Okay, now I have appended content to the same file. Clear? So this is how we use cat. So editing file is not done yet, we'll go there. So first of all, how to print the content of the file using cat, since we have already covered cat, how to add content to a file using cat command, how to overwrite it, and how to update it. Okay, now there is, if you have observed, there is another thing here. So here we have file, file1, file2. Okay, and I did this echo 2 redirecting to file 3. So file 3 is not present here, but I have given file 3 as an argument. That means I just said redirect the output to a file called file 3. So if this file is present, then this will be redirected to the file. If it is not present, the system will automatically create it for you. Okay, so this works in every area in Linux system. So if the file is present, fine. If it is not present, it will create it for you. Okay. If you want to create file manually, for example, so I don't want to redirect any content, but I just want to create a file. Then we use touch command. So touch file 6. So basically, file 6 will be an empty file. As I said, like with cat, you can print the output of multiple files, right? Cat file 1, file 2, file 3. You can use the concept is applicable with every command. Like you can apply it for multiple with arguments like touch. I can create multiple files like this. Enter. You see, so I can create n number of files using touch command. So that is the importance of touch. So touch not only creates a file, but it also modifies the access time of a file. So this line is very important. Maybe you may not, it is not necessary now, but so once you're familiar with your Linux system, this command would be useful for you. Okay, touch, the simplest use case is it is useful to create a blank file or an empty file. Okay, but touch also helps you to update the access time of a file. That means every file associated with some information like when was the last time that file has been accessed. Okay, because we also search files based on the access time. So when was the last time a file is updated, when was the last time a file is accessed, like this. Okay, so say for example there is a file which has not been touched for the past 1 month. Okay, and I'm searching for some important files, and since the access time is not updated, my search may not result in that particular file. Okay, and in order to make that available, I have to touch that file. So I simply doing a touch. Say for example, anaconda-ks.ch is there. I would do anaconda ks. So this does not delete the content. So the content, everything would remain the same if I use touch. So only the access time will get updated for that file. So that is the importance of touch command. So we have created files. We have seen how to display the content of the files. Now deleting the file involves using a command called rm file. So remove it is asking for a confirmation. Yes. Okay. Rm file 1. Yes. Again the same thing. Can I delete multiple files at a time? Yes. Now if you have a question, I don't want to give user input every time. I want files to be deleted just with uh, one command. Okay, then we have to use an argument called f, means forcefully. Okay, so now what is this argument that we have given? So in the next system, every command is associated with arguments. Okay, that means ls is a command that displays, that lists the contents of a directory, right? It is not so other than listing the contents of the directory, ls can do a lot. Okay, that means ls can uh, provide a lot of information that is in the form of arguments. Okay, so I can do ls hyphen l, which is give a long listing of the files. Long listing means, so this output has comparatively a lot of information, right? Like that. So if you want information about all these arguments, so we have manual pages, or in short man pages, present in Linux system. Okay, so man space ls, that means give me the manual page for Linux ls command. Man space ls, will give ls means, so this is the man page, ls list the directory contents, and how to use it, ls space other options space file name, and then you can see all the arguments here. We can also use the combination of these arguments. Okay, so here we have used -l. So slowly, you would gradually learn. So for every command max, we learn 2 to 3 arguments. That too, it depends depending on the use case. But it is important to know that every command will have arguments, and if you have any specific requirement, you can quickly refer to the man page and then use the corresponding command. So that is how things work. So no one can remember all the commands, all the arguments, which is impossible. So as you keep working, you will be focused on a particular area, and then in that area there would be some set of commands, and those commands might be used in different ways. Okay, and those ways would have the associated arguments. You will be initially, you just have to search it, but gradually you will get used to it. Okay, so you need not have to worry about like how you can remember all this stuff. So it comes by practice, and you won't be going through all this. You don't have to remember everything in Linux. So ls enter. So we have seen this. Take another one, -a. The difference between both, okay, is in this output you can also see files starting with a dot. ls, you don't see files starting with a dot. Here you can see that dot bash history, dot bash logout, dot bash profile, dot bash rc. So any file that starts with the dot is a hidden file. That means it is uh, not displayed. Okay, it is not displayed on the screen. You cannot see that file. So those files can be displayed using -a command. Okay, let's take another example. I create a file called touch hide me. The file is not displayed. Need to do -a to see that file. Similarly, this concept is also applicable for directories in Linux. So we have seen how to create a file now. In order to create a directory, we will use the command mkdir. Okay, mkdir, say dir1. If the directory exists, it will throw an error. So in the previous case, touch will update the timestamp, but mkdir doesn't do that. It will just throw an error stating that the directory exists. So I'll go create directory 2. So now ls, so I have a folder called dir2. Okay, if I want, I can create xyz, a directory called xyz. Now I can pwd, I'm under root, and under the root folder I have xyz. Now I went from root to xyz. Since xyz is present in the same folder, okay, I can directly go to xyz folder. Say for example, you are present under C directory. Okay, under C directory you can see program files over there, another folder. So in order to switch to program files, you simply double click on program files, right? But if I say that there is a folder uh, which is named as music, it is there on the desktop, you cannot directly go to the music folder. Rather, you have to go to the desktop, and from there you need to click on music folder. So that is how we travel from one folder to another folder, right? Same concept is applicable here also. Okay, guys, give me one second. Just already defined. So that is how we switch between the folders. So as long as you are in a folder and you can see subfolders over there. Now I did ls, there is nothing. mkdir, let's say folder 1, okay, ls. So I can see that folder in the current location, so I can switch to that folder. Whereas now if I want to a different folder which is there in some other location, then I have to give the total path, like starting from say home, Saran. If I want to go to a folder called Saran, I need to give the total path. Otherwise, if it is there in my current location, I can directly switch to that. Okay. Now, so if you want to move from one folder to another folder, I said cd is the command. So you should always remember that / is the topmost directory. So under / we have seen folders like etc, bin, boot, home, all these folders are there. So if you want to uh, open some configuration file, mostly the config files are start with etc folder, etc. Under that, similarly, if you want to see something under say grub related file, okay, so boot grub and it is grub.conf. Okay, so that's how we switch, start using the cd command. Now another way to switch using cd command is, say I just want to go one folder, okay, down the hierarchy. That means from folder 2 I want to go back to folder 1. So either you say cd root xyz folder 1, or you can simply say dot dot, okay, folder 1. So dot dot, it is like you can go one folder back, cd space dot dot, okay. Now again root xyz folder. Now we know that the directories are / separated, right? The same concept is applicable here also. So rather than just going, say for example I want to go 2 folders back, so I can do dot dot slash dot dot. So this will take me directly to xyz. So you can also use this notation and travel backwards, okay. Now there are also some other ways of using the cd command, okay, which is like you observe the difference what is happening. So cd space hyphen, what it is doing, it is it is almost like switching between two channels using the remote, okay, while watching a TV. So cd hyphen takes me to the folder where I was previously present. Okay, so this is going to be very useful where you, say for example, you remember the network scripts folder, right? So etc sysconfig network hyphen script. So if there is a long folder path, so you went to that folder, from there you came to uh, temp folder. So if you want to go back, either than typing the entire path, or say for example you don't remember the path, or you see that the path is very big, simply doing cd space hyphen will take you to that location. Okay, so these are like uh, kind of shortcuts. They help you to quickly travel, make your life easier when working with Linux system. Okay, so this is how we use cd command. So we have seen ls, we have seen cat command, we have seen touch command, we have seen mkdir, how to create the directory and how to switch between the directories. Now Now, if I want to check the contents, now this is the folder, right, ls, so the contents of the folder is displayed. I can also give some other folder as an argument, /root. So check the contents of, list the contents of root directory, list the contents of temp directory. You can give the directory as an input. It's not just a local directory, the directory where I'm in, but I can also check list the contents of other directories. Okay, now I am here, and there is this folder called folder 2. So I want to check what is there in folder 2. There is nothing. We have used mkdir in order to create directory now, and we have used rm command in order to delete a file. Okay, and rmdir, mkdir make directory, rmdir remove directory. Excuse me. Okay, rmdir folder 2 is to remove an empty directory, in fact to be specific. So now where I am, folder 1. Okay, now I create some files, touch file ls. Now folder 1 is not empty, it has some content. Okay, rmdir, it says directory not empty. So rmdir command is used to delete empty directories only, not the directories having content. For that, again we go back to rm command. Okay, but okay, let me show that. Rm folder 1, it says folder 1 is a directory. You cannot simply use rm directly, so we need to say rm hyphen r is to recursively means it will go inside folder 1, it will check the content. If there are files, it will delete. If there are folders, again it will go inside the folder. Okay, irrespective of the number of folders and subfolders present inside, so it will recursively go inside and it will try to delete the contents of that particular directory. Okay, so that's why we use hyphen r, and we remember hyphen f that we have used. If you don't use f, it will ask you for a confirmation before deleting every file. Okay, or let's check that. Enter, say no. Now deleted. Okay, quickly we'll take another example. There is nothing present under xyz, so let us create and so I've created 3 files, 3 directories. Let me go inside. Okay, from here itself we'll create touch f1. Okay, 4, and mkdir f2, then f3. Yeah, I've created a subfolder called f3 inside f2. Now inside f3 I created f5 and created a file inside f2, f3, 5, and some new file. Okay, now let us quickly check all the contents in the subdirectories also. So with ls there is an argument called hyphen capital R. It will list out the entire hierarchy. So the Linux file system, right, it is like an inverted tree structure. So the topmost point, like the root, that's why it is called as root, and then you have branches, sub branches. Okay, like that kind of tree structure. So that is, I have printed that. So we have first level, 3 files and folders, and again in F1 I have 4, inside F2 I have F3, inside F2, F3 I have F5, inside these 3 folders I have new file. Okay, so if there is something like this, so if you want to delete XYZ, So rm hyphen rf xyz, what it does, it will go through each of the folders and subfolders and delete everything. So xyz is no more. So that is how you have to recursively delete the contents of a directory. Okay. Yeah. So what I did now, I have just cleared my screen. Say for example, you have used commands like this. Okay. Either you do clear, the command will clear the screen, or press Ctrl L, that also clears the screen. Okay. Next, now we have seen cat command where what happens is, irrespective of the size of the file, it will dump everything on the screen, right? But there are commands using which you can read those files page by page. Okay, so we have something called more. So this is the beginning of the file and it has displayed this much. Just keep pressing enter, you can read this, but you cannot travel backwards. That means, so as you keep pressing enter, it is kind of unidirectional. So you can only read the file downwards. You cannot go back. You have to move the cursor backwards again. Okay. So this is a more command. Similarly, there are commands like head space anaconda. So head command default, it displays I think 10 lines. How many are there? 5, no, 15 lines I guess. Okay. So head file name will give top 15 lines of that file. So these are the different use cases that would come in future, right? You might want to display only some specific lines from a file. Okay. Say for example, you want to print line number 10 to line number 15. So in general, when working on Windows system, you may not find such kind of requirements. But when you are handling with data, okay, so Linux system, one of the use cases processing the data, a lot of log files or data gets generated. You might want to pull some specific information out of those files, okay, information like this one. I want to get uh, these lines of data only. I don't want all those things. Run some command and get that information, like that. Different ways in which we process data in the Linux system. Okay, so here, so head command, it basically gives me first 15 lines. Head, we can also use head to be more specific. Give me only 5 lines. Okay, similarly, give me only 7 lines. So head will do that for you. If you don't give any argument, if you are not specific, by default it will print 15 lines. So head, similarly we have command called tail. So head will print from the top, tail will print from the bottom. So from the bottom it will search and print this many lines. So you can be specific with tail also. Okay, so read the file backwards and print 5 lines or 10 lines or 15 lines. So it will print that many lines for you. Okay, so these are, so you can read a file in different ways. Either you put everything on the screen, or you read top 5, bottom 5, or read page by page. Okay, there are different ways of reading the files. Okay, now let's just see what other commands we have. Okay, so this slide, if you can see on my screen, so these are this is kind of part of the shell features. Okay, that means So when you are on the command prompt, let's take this example, etc sysconfig, okay, network scripts. So I have just did an ls on this file. Okay, now I want to uh, use cat command to display the contents of this file. So either I have to say cat space, type the entire path, or press upward arrow, move the cursor to the beginning, and then say cat. Okay, so here the cursor movement which is there, so since it is a big file name, it might take some time to move from this end to that end. Okay, so this is where command line shortcuts are useful for you. So here, by pressing control button and E, so the cursor goes to the end. Control A, cursor comes to the beginning. Okay, so these are the shortcuts for that. You can use Control L to clear the screen. Okay, shift page up, as I've said, you can move the page upwards. Okay, similarly Control A, Control E, and there are a few more. I have used Control D in the case of creating the file with cat command. So these commands would help you to whenever you're doing some repeated operation, or where the operation is going to take time, by using these shortcuts you can reduce the time that is taking for executing that particular operation. Okay, so this one, if you have observed the command prompt, there is something called hash. Okay, a hash always represents a root user. Now what I did here is Control C. Okay, just press Control C uh, to get the prompt back. So here you can see hash, which represents a root user. If you switch to a different user, it will be the $sign. Okay, that represents whether it is a root or not. And the tilde I have covered. Now other commands are pwd present working directory. Who am I will tell you who the current user is. Okay, and you have seen me switching between users, so that I'll give one more example for that. So now you have seen I've used su command, right? Now exit, so back to the root account. Now I can use su space seren also to switch. The difference between su and su hyphen is, uh, take this. So when I switch to user seren, the present working directory is root. Okay, so previously as the root user I was under root, and by doing su I became a new user and the location is the same. Whereas if I use su-seren, my new location is my home directory. So when switching, if you want to directly go to that user's home directory, then use su space hyphen, otherwise simply use su. Okay, so that is the difference between su and su hyphen. So this is covered. So you've seen how to check the host name and host name hyphen I. Okay. In Windows, we use the command ipconfig in order to check the IP address. In Linux, it is ifconfig or ifconfig. Okay, so in this output, ETH0 is my Ethernet device. Okay, so this is what we have configured yesterday. We assigned a manual IP address. This is the IP, and this is your broadcast address, and this is the mask, subnet mask. Clear? So we can check our IP address using this. And here you have something called LO 127.0.0.1. LO means it is a loopback address. every computer will have a loopback address. Okay, so it is the same address, the same number 127.0.0.1. It is fixed that this will be used as a loopback address in all the systems. A loopback address is internally made use by the applications that you have installed on that particular system. Okay, other than that, for systems to communicate with each other, we need the IP address, so which is configured as ETH0. Now, it is also possible to check the IP address using the command hostname. So when I say hostname, it has printed this. Okay, we can also do hostname -i. Okay, but this is pretty much dependent on the entry which you make in a file called etc hosts. Now in the file called etc hosts, okay, if you add, initially this file would have only these last two lines, it won't have the first line. If the user adds this line that this is my IP address and this is the host name I have, then hostname space -i command will work. Otherwise, hostname -i will not give you the output because it has to search this file. So you have to make an entry in this file in order to get that information. Now etc hosts file acts as a local resolver. That means now my system is up and running. I create another system. I can communicate with that system. Okay, that means I can communicate using the IP address of the other system. But instead of IP address, if I want to use the host name of the other system, okay, that case we need to create a mapping. So in this file, mention the IP address of the other system, host name of the other system. So then you can connect to the other system using the host name also. So that is the importance of this particular file, etc hosts. Hostname -i will work only when there are entries in this particular file. So a quick review of the commands we have seen so far, and there are some commands which we have not covered yet. So the cp command. So cp command is used to copy files from one place to another place. So copy. So copy syntax is copy what? So I want to copy a file. I want to copy a directory. Next, where? Okay. So copy. What do you want to do? I want to copy. What do you want to copy? I want to copy a file, or I want to copy a directory. Where do you want to copy? I want to copy that file to this particular location. So these things, three things are always important. Okay. So if you try to question yourself like this, then you can quickly learn the commands. So what you want to do, like what are the files, on which files that you want to perform this operation. Okay. So the syntax is pretty much works this way. So copy. I want to copy a file called Saran. Where do you want to copy it? I want to copy to DAR2. LSDAR file called Saran. Similarly, copy Saran where I want to copy this to /temp. This file is there. Okay, you need to provide, if it is to a folder which is there in the current folder, you can just mention the folder name. Otherwise, you need to give the absolute path. So what is the path of the folder where you want to copy it? The same concept is applicable if you want to copy, say for example, there is a file called Saran under temp. So copy temp Saran. Okay, got it. And where do you want to copy? I want to copy it to ABC1. So I took a file which is there in some location and I'm copying it to some other location. Okay. So that is how the copy command works. And another command we have is move command. So copy command, what happens is it will create multiple copies of a file, whereas move command, you can completely move the file from one location to another location. Syntax wise, it is the same syntax that you use. So move Saran to dir abc1 ls. So this file is gone. It will be part of abc1. Okay. Similarly, move. You can move multiple files also. You can copy multiple files. You can move multiple files. Okay. Now we are left with 4 folders. So we have seen how to copy files, how to move the files. Now we will see how to copy directories and move the directories. So when you are dealing with a single file, okay, so the copy command works, the move command works, and even the rm command works. When we are dealing with a directory or directory having additional subdirectories, so what we did in the previous use case is we have used -r argument. That means recursively we have removed or deleted those files. Same concept is applicable for copying directories and moving directories also. So copy -r abc1 to abc2. So abc1 is copied to abc2. Clear? It's the same move. Uh, sorry, -r is not applicable for mv command. So mv works without -r. So move abc1 ls. So abc1 is missing. So we have moved abc1 to dir2. Okay. Now there is another importance for move command. Actually, move not only moves a file from one location to another location, but move renames the names of the folders. For example, so move dir2 to saran2. So saran2 is a folder which is not there. So what I did is I have renamed the contents of this particular dir2 as saran2. So that's the reason maybe it is not expecting -r. -r is not necessary. Okay, like that we can move while copying also. So move abc2 to /temp saran2. So if saran2 folder is present, then this will go inside that folder. If it is not present, then the contents of abc2 will be copied to a folder called saran2. It is like renaming a folder. Clear? Okay. We have seen cat command, we are done. ls mkdir touch command, echo command. Yeah, here you can see there is we have used something called star. So what star indicates is star is a pattern matching operator. That means so here you can see there are more 3 files starting with name script. Okay, so if you put a star, then it will try to match all the possible files that start with the word called script. Like that you can use star anywhere. Say for example, I want to list all the files that have .pl as an extension. Star.pl, enter. So it will match any pattern that you give. So basically anything that ends with .pl. Okay, anything that ends with chg. So that is where a star is used. You can also use star for deleting the files. This is very important. So I want you to try it on a test file or a folder, because you'll understand if you do that it will delete everything in a folder. So in case if you perform that operation without checking the current directory, if you go to some folders like etc or root folder, and since you practice as a root user, if you do rm space star, then everything is gone. Okay, see for example, I'm gonna go to abc1. There is nothing. Let's create. Okay, I've created 5 files and then created 4 folders. Okay, so sorry. So if you use F star, gone. So star matches, it also matches everything. Okay, so we can say move star, okay, to /temp. So everything will be moved like that. Copy star, everything will be copied. Okay, so star matches everything in a current directory. And I mentioned that dot dot represents the previous directory, right? Similarly, a single dot represents current directory. That means, say I'm trying to do this operation. Copy temp surrend. Okay, I want to copy it to the current folder. Current folder means I am in ABC1. To this folder I want to copy. So you can just use the dot. So dot represents current folder. Okay, so dot dot double dot is the previous folder, dot represents current folder. Okay, so more, move, copy, copying recursively. Okay, so that's pretty much about all the basic commands. Now we will quickly see the concept of editors. Okay, editor means how to edit the contents of a file. So just a quick note to everyone. So far you have seen I have used some 15 to 20 new commands. If you have heard these commands for the first time, okay, believe me, by this time tomorrow I would have completed 20 more commands. So every day we will be dealing with commands, different ways of making use of these commands. There will be one new topic every day. So say at least every 2 days. So file system management, there are a bunch of commands. So please put your effort, practice as much as you can, so that you will be familiar with all these commands, and you don't get confused as we proceed further. Things would be easy for you. So try to practice as much as you can every day. Okay, so next is editors. So editor is like Notepad. So using Notepad, we open a file and we try to modify the contents of the file using editor, right? So in Linux, in run level 3 non-graphical mode, so we will be using an editor called VI. Here there is another example called for gedit, which is a graphical editor. Okay, so we will stick to VI editor, VI or VIM, which is a modified VI. It's like a different version of VI, that's all. Okay, we will stick to VI editor throughout the course. So there are also other editors that are supported in Linux, like there is a nano editor. Okay, it's totally a personal choice, but I would explain you about VI. Once you're familiar with VI, you can try nano or some other editor, and as per your requirement, you can choose the corresponding editor. So every editor again has a lot of features. Okay, if you start with a new editor, again you need to go through learn all those features as well. So coming to the editor, okay, let us take a sample file and we will try to modify that file. Okay, now normally when you open a text pad, okay, what are all the different kinds of operations that you perform? As like you can add new content, you can delete the content in the text pad, right? And say if it is a very big file having some 1,000 lines, so if you want to move to the end of the notepad, okay, how will you move? You drag the cursor to the bottom. If you are using some latest notepads, maybe there could be some shortcuts that help you. And other than these three, what other operations? We can find search for the words, right? So we can do Control F and you give some word and search it. We can search in both the ways. And uh, what else can you do? You can do a word wrap. Other than this, so these are the features that you use mostly. Other than that, if you are expecting anything, you have to check the corresponding tab and list down all the features and go through those features. So that's how we work on Notepad generally. So when it comes to the VI editor, you that too in the command line, you will not find any tabs. Okay, it's like a notepad opened without any of the tabs. And here it's all again some shortcuts and some commands that you have to use in order to modify the content, search for specific words. Okay, and any kind of operation is followed by a command. So I've taken this file. So VI, or you can, if VIM is installed, you can use VIM and the corresponding file name. Okay, VIM is not there. So this file is opened in a VI mode. See, I can move. So now the file is open in the VI editor. VI editor has some modes. Okay, modes means by default VI editor will open in a command line mode. So here I can issue commands. For example, see, I press /, it has opened it here. Okay, I want to search for a word called the, enter. Or that's it, there is only one. :0 is go to the beginning of the file. Okay, and we can also use Shift G to come to the ending of the file. So these are all different commands that I'm using because VI editor is in the command mode. And if we want to switch to insert mode, press I. I is to go to the insert mode. Insert mode is where we don't issue commands. If you press /, it will update it over there. Okay, so you need to be You just have to make the changes whatever you want to when you come to the insert mode. Then press escape back to command mode. Now press forward slash. You can start searching for content. Okay, so always the search will begin from the place your cursor is. So cursor position is important when it comes to VA editor. Always remember, wherever your cursor is, my cursor is here. Okay, so I search for a word called boot. So it will search and go to the location where the first occurrence is. Then okay, ext4. Now once the cursor is at ext4, if I want to go to the next occurrence of ext4, I need to press N for next. Okay, I keep pressing N. It is switching between those two places. So now we'll repeat in an order. Okay, in VA editor, initially when you open a file in VA editor, it will be in a command line mode. You need to press I in order to go to the insert mode where we can add the content. Press I, I'm in insert mode. Okay, adding new content to this file. Added. Now press escape to come back to the command line mode. Okay, once you come back, :W is to save the changes that you have made. :Q to quit and come back to the command prompt. Okay, I'll repeat the operation again. I opened a file in VA editor. I press I to enter the insert mode, and then I have made some changes here, like I have deleted the content. This is not necessary for me, so I deleted it. Press escape to go back to the command mode. Press :W to save. We can use both at a time. WQ, save and quit. Enter. Clear? So this is one part. Now in the command, now we'll focus on the command mode. So some of the operations that we can do in command mode. So I told you / use a word, for example part. Okay, so it goes to the first occurrence. So it begins from the cursor position. So from the cursor position, it will search for the first occurrence of word called part. Press N to go to the next part. So it keeps, as I keep pressing N, it switches between the occurrences of part. Okay, so this is like a forward search. That means top to bottom, from wherever your cursor is, it will go down, it will finish the search, again come back to the beginning of the file. Say for example, I want to begin in the opposite direction. That means Shift G. I'm at the bottom. Okay, and now if I do /part, since I've reached the bottom, right, it will go to the beginning of the file and it will start searching. But I don't want the search in that way. I want the search to start from the last line of the file and then go in the backward direction towards the top. So bottom to top. Okay, for that I need to do ? Okay, ? part. Enter. You see, from the bottom it went to this part. Again press N to go to the next. You see, now it is going in the opposite direction. The cursor is beginning from the bottom and going to the top. In the other case, it has started from the top, and as you keep press N, it comes to the next search in a top to bottom direction. Now it is bottom to top. Okay, you would definitely get these kind of questions if you go for interviews. In VA editor, how do you search words in reverse direction? Okay, how to search words, how do you switch modes in VA editor? Okay, two commands we have seen. So some of the other options, okay. What other things that we can, there are a lot of things, I cannot cover everything. So for every topic, I'll provide some information. You need to be familiar with that, and with the knowledge that you have, you need to develop more by going through the man pages and all that information. Okay, all right. So forward search, reverse search is done. Now colon, and you can mention line number and go to that line. Okay, let us say for example first set nu will set the line numbers in this file. Okay, colon set no number, again colon set number. Okay, now I have set the numbers. I want to go to a specific line. How do I go? Colon, mention the line number 15. So you are at line number 15. Okay, colon line number 31. There are only 21 lines, so it went to the bottom of the file. Okay, so again came to the top. Okay, and if you are not aware of how many lines are present in that, you can use Shift G, will take you to the bottom of the screen. So these shortcuts are very important because let's take an example file. Okay, so some files are very big. There will be 1,000 lines in that file. So in case if you're looking or searching for something in that file, unless you know the shortcuts, it is very difficult to travel across and search for the requirements. Okay, what else can we do in a VA editor? Oh, okay, some more shortcuts. Maybe I will show that. Okay, so this is what I was referring to. So we can delete lines, we can delete words, okay, and we can copy the lines, we can cut the lines using all these shortcuts rather than doing it manually. Okay, so start with this cursor position. I'm at this particular line. Okay, if I press Y twice, the alphabet Y twice, this line will get copied. If I press 3YY, okay, one after another consecutively 3YY, then from the cursor position 3 lines will be copied. 10YY, from the cursor position 10 lines will be copied. Okay, what I'll do is I'll just do 3YY to test it first. 3YY. In the bottom you can see it says 3 lines yanked. So 3 lines are copied to the buffer now. Okay, now what I can do is I can move the cursor wherever I want to, and by pressing P it will paste the lines which are there in the buffer. 3 lines are pasted. Okay, again let us copy these 2 lines, okay, which are starting with hash. So 2 lines, 2YY, 2 lines are copied. Now here P, it will paste. Even when pasting, if you say 2P, then it will be pasted twice. 5P, pasted 5 times. Clear? So YY is to copy 1 line. 3YY, 3 lines. Like that you can do 100YY, 100 lines will be copied to the buffer. Then move the cursor and paste it wherever you want to paste it by pressing P. So if it is a 1 line and you want to paste it 100 times, do 100P, it will paste it 100 times. Okay. Similarly, 8DD. So dd basically deletes a line, and if you want to delete 4 lines, you can do 4dd. So same thing, whatever we copied now, I'm pressing dd. Okay, just observe, as I press once, it has deleted 1 line, and I think there are some 15 lines. I'm going to delete all 15 at a time. 15dd. It has deleted all the 15 lines. Okay, excuse me. So like that, we can cut, we can copy, we can paste. Okay, and again in VA editor, it is possible to move the cursor to the beginning of the line, move the cursor to the end of the line. Okay, and say from the cursor position, you want to create a new line under it. So these things, they might sound very simple. Okay, like my cursor is in this position. Okay, and the requirement is I have to create a empty line below this line, and I have to insert some data. So how do we do that? Generally, press I, go to insert mode, move the cursor to the bottom, press enter. I created a new line. Now add some content. Okay, let us do it a different way. There is back to command mode. So there is the alphabet O. If I press O, it will create a new line and it will go to insert mode, adding. So as you keep working on the system, these minor things, they does matter. Moving the cursor from the beginning of the line to the end of the line. If you know the shortcut, it's like a fraction of second you have moved from beginning to the ending. If you know the shortcut called Shift G, so you went to bottom of the screen in a fraction of a second, and you started performing other things. So over the period, it saves a lot of time, and it improves the way you work on the next system. So these minor things, they do matter. So press O will create a new line and it will go to the insert mode. So like this, there are shortcuts to perform the same thing in the opposite direction. Create an empty line above the line, below the line. Okay, and press X will delete one alphabet or one character. Again X. So if I want to delete, I keep pressing X, it keeps deleting the line. Okay, in fact, this is not just the shortcut. So if I have to delete a paragraph, I shouldn't keep pressing X. Okay, and at the same time, pressing DD would help to delete the paragraph. Say I have a different requirement, I have to delete 4 lines, fifth line I have to delete only half. So 4DD, press X. Or there are other ways, like you can do DW. Okay, DW, what it does is it will delete the word for you. See here. So one word at a time, deleting one word at a time, deleting one character at a time, deleting one line at a time. Okay, so these are 3 levels. So you can practice all this slowly, you will get familiar. So start with one at a time, practice that one. Okay, and slowly keep adding new shortcuts. So that is how we perform all these operations. Well, in case if I forgot to mention something, anyhow, we'll be working on all the files using VA editor only. So I would repeat those things, okay, when implementing them. Okay, few more commands. So I would also suggest that you try to remember the use case. So that would help you to remember the command. Okay, so use case in the sense, like I said, how I can delete character by character, how I can delete word by word, how I can move a switch between the top and bottom of the file, how to quickly go to the bottom of the file, how to quickly move the cursor to the end of the line. So if you remember that way, so you can easily remember a lot of use cases rather than going the command line way. That means remembering ls, cat, more, so that may not help. So remembering the use cases would help you. At least by remembering the use case, you can search for you can get the command easily. So some more examples. Okay, these may not be I would say commands, but these are like kind of operators that would help you in order to combine the commands and do more. For example, uh, there is a command called wc-l. So even here I did press the tab twice because I want to check the contents of this folder. So wc command is used to check the word count. Okay, so here word count -l means it will list the number of lines present in this particular file. Okay, wc space -l will list the number of lines present in a file called Anaconda. So there is another way in which you can, okay, so another use case is, I want to talk about this operator called as pipe. So on your keyboard above the enter button you would see a pipe symbol. So pipe operation is mainly used to redirect the output of one command to another command. Say for example, you want to combine two commands, combine the functionality of two commands. So pipe operator will help you do that. For example, um, ls command will display list the files present in my current folder, right? So if I want to know how many files are present, okay, so ls first of all will give you the output, the total number of files. It will give you the names of the files. Then I will put a pipe and say, so here what is happening, ls will list out the file names and these file names are given as an input to wc-l. So wc-l will count and display the number on the screen. Understood? Like that we can put pipe operator, we can use the pipe operator and say some command. Okay, I'm just trying to explain the use case. Like that you can put a number of pipes and carry the output of one command to other command to other command. So this is one use case. So when I say about processing the data, so you can take a big file, you send it to one command which performs some operation, then take the output, send it to another command. Okay, it's like you can keep filtering the file as per your requirement. So output of one command goes to another command as an input. So that is the importance of pipe symbol. So in here, if you take this particular case, okay, so cat, we can check the word count in multiple ways. Okay, you can directly say wc-l on a file, or you can print the output of a file and give that as an input to wc-l command. There is another command called as grep. I'll just use it. You see what the output is. So what I did, grep. So grep basically it will search for specific words. We used / and we did search for words in a V editor, right? /path. So it will go to the first occurrence. So grep what does is, if you grep for a word, okay, then it will try to pull all the lines that contains the word called path. So here you would find every line containing that word art. So if you want to set a file for any specific words, then you can use grep command. There are a lot of additional use cases of grep that we will see later. So for now, grep is also used in order to search for lines. Let's take one example. Okay, so here I did grep, I got all these lines. Okay, so I want to put a pipe and say, so out of these 4 lines I will grep for something called ext4. So, okay, I have added a filter, and again the output, whatever output comes, I want to apply grep again and say boot. So like that, pipe is used. I have used it with grep command only, but we can use it with multiple commands. We can use all commands depending upon our requirement. We can use the pipe symbol. Okay, everyone. Uh, I mean, still there are a few more commands, but I would like to stop the class here. We still have 5 more minutes, so I would like to check with you if you have any questions, any commands that you expect me to repeat, or any other queries you have. Take your time, just go through the commands in this 5 minutes, whatever commands that we have covered, and let me know if you have any queries. Okay, we have one question here, like how to modify the access time of a directory. You can use the same command and change the access time, and you can also try cross-checking that using a stat command. Okay, stat space, give the file or the directory name. It will show the change in the access time. Alright everyone, if there are no more questions from your side, then we can wind up the session for today. Alright, so please go through the commands that we have covered today and practice the commands, and so that it will be easy for you to learn and be prepared for the next class. Okay, and yeah, that's pretty much that I wanted to say. Alright, thank you so much for attending today's class. See you again in tomorrow's session. Have a good day. Bye.